Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kostuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the Govardhan Eco Village in Maharashtra, India. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kostuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to India, still in India. And it's birthday week for Raghunath. I've taken more than a day for my birthday.
That means you're serving all week? You're serving others selflessly all week?
Of sorts, serving and receiving, my friend. Kostuba gave me a really nice gift of all these famous Indian sweets. There was
Mohantal, Son Papri,
Mohantal, Mysore Pak,
Peda.
Ooh, Peda.
What was the other one?
That's one of my favorites.
5 in total.
They were good, but you know what? Then I decided to do the most responsible thing I could do on my birthday. I went to the Govardhan. No, what's it called? The Bhaktivedanta Hospital.
Yeah.
And
they took a look at your blood and they said, my God, there's like ghee in here. Ghee and sugar.
It was like that. They're like, what are you eating? But anyway, I ran all my numbers and I got a little work to do. Mara's going to help me. But you know what happens? They do this thing where they check your heart to see if your heart's working, and my heart is working well. They said they were quite impressed with my heart, but
it's a very devotional heart.
They inject this like color into your bloodstream, and it shows up. I don't know. It's called contrast, and
to some X-ray kind of test or something like that.
Then they see. I don't know if the blood's flowing properly. I'm not sure how it works. They put you in this machine, and just like breathe. I tell you, it's almost like this is what it's going to be like to die. It's just like when they're operating you and trying to save your life or something like that. That's how I felt. Like they're, shoving needles in the arm and they're putting this. And then I'm looking over at the doctors and they're going, "Oh, problem." And I was like, and they start massaging my arm. I was like, "Doctor, is there a problem? Is there a problem?" And they're like, "It's not working. We'll put it in your hand." So now I've got to get the second one in my hand. But
bigger problem.
The hand worked, but the arm swelled up like a melon. So I had one swollen giant Popeye arm and one regular skinny arm, and it got more and more painful as the day went on. And they were like, "Oh, it'll go away." I was like, "Well, when will it go away?" Like, I'm a yoga teacher. And so
they're like,
I had all these great expectations for my birthday. And
that sounds like, Raghunath, you make it sound like you're some like emergency medical technique. I'm a yoga teacher. It's like,
well, I got to use my arm.
Everyone needs to use their arm.
Yeah.
I've got this arm and now it's in pain. I got to keep it elevated. So me and Mara plan this getaway. We'll go away for my birthday. We'll get your tests done. You should be in and out of there. We'll leave super early in the morning. The whole thing got miserable. I just sit in the car, in the trap. I'm planning for my enjoyment, the biggest cause of my distress. Miserable until like 5 p.m. because I got to this hotel and I was just car sick from the ride. My arm is killing me. I'm miserable.
That's why you're grumpy today? A little bit?
I'm a little grumpy. If you want to know, a little grumpy. But you want to hear something wonderful? And also, it's like, and the whole time I was really distressed about my kids because it was my birthday. I didn't have my kids with me. And I was thinking, you know what? This stinks. The kids used to always be here at the Eco Village with me.
Every year.
They're not here every year. My son had his first 6 birthdays here. And I was like, you know what? And they haven't contacted me. And I thought, you know what? I got to zoom out. I was trying to like medicate myself with the Bhagavatam. You got to zoom out. They're not your children. You don't own them. Kids, Raghu, why don't get mad at your kids? It's like, how often do you call your mom? Like, I don't call my mom that much. You know what I mean?
Do you call her on her birthday?
Yeah, I call her on her birthday. I mean, call her, but not as much as my other siblings. Like, call her every day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of like, I had to let go of my kids.
Okay.
And then they called me this morning at 6:30 in the morning on FaceTime, all
together?
3 of them, all together, and said how much it was like they were so happy to see me, and we were giggling and joking. And then my daughter posted this wonderful thing about me on her Instagram
I saw that.
page.
I saw what your daughter posted on Instagram, and I thought she totally gets it. She talked about all the wonderful things that you've done for her in her life, how special you made her life, what an example you set for her. It was great.
Yes. Follow my daughter, plant-based and joyful. And it was super sweet. Rocco also sent me my son also sent me a text. It was, "You're the best dad ever." And it was incredibly validating. I don't have to zoom out. I don't have to disown them. I don't have to understand that I can't control them. All this stuff I talk to myself when I think my kids are just turning away from me. I got to experience, material affection. And
did you show them your arm?
Huh?
Did you show them your arm?
My big fat arm? No.
Hey, check out my arm.
Check out my arm. Yeah, it was the time difference. So they called me today, which was their nighttime on the 11th and my morning on the 11th. So anyway. So it was good. We had a good time. And me and Mara, what happened was yesterday, me and Mara ended up going for a long japa walk on the Arabian Sea, on this nice walkway. We chanted 25 rounds. We got a smoothie. Wow. Then Mara took me out to dinner. It was a delicious dinner. Appetizers, dinner, dessert, cafe.
Okay.
it was like
more.
And everything was delicious.
Good.
And then we woke up and we went for the same 25 round japa walk this morning.
Wow.
And that was it. That was our day. Had some smoothies, ate some fruit, ate some sitapal, my favorite exotic fruit.
Yeah.
If you're listening on Zoom, you can write your favorite exotic fruit on the board. Mine is cherimoya, also known as sitapal, the fruit of a
They're a little different, though, I believe.
They're smaller.
Sitapal.
They're smaller than the American.
Flavor.
No.
Oh, yeah.
They're not different flavor. The exact same fruit.
Look it up, Mara. Look it up. Let us not argue about this, Raghunath.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a good day.
Okay.
It was a good day. And I just got back, got into a meeting, and now I'm at the show. So that's why I'm just a little disgruntled. And then you cruise in here in my room like, "Hey, man." I was like, "I don't got time for your hey, man."
Yeah, grumpy. I tell you. Just be friendly. Seeing how you're doing.
It's your birthday week. Give me a break.
Okay. All right. Good to have you back, though, Raghunath. We missed you when you're gone. Good to have you back.
Thank you, sir. All right. So, anything you want to share, Mara? Any interesting news? Announcements.
We have a Back to Recovery group meeting at noon today. Tomorrow at 10:30 a.m., Josh Kane is offering an asana class for our Patreon members.
Josh Kane.
And then there's the Wisdom of the Sages retreat in Italy this summer, June 27th to July 4th. You can go to wisdomofthesages.com and go to the events tab to find out info.
Thank you, Mara. Wisdom of the Sages, Italy. Looking forward to that. It's a great thing. Yeah. I think Henry's going.
Yeah, he is. From what I understand.
All right.
Yeah, he's got the thumbs up.
Looking forward to that. All right, my friend. Ready to dive into the sweet honeypot of the Srimad Bhagavatam?
Always.
Narayanam namaskrityanam chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu vadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamash sloke bhaktir bhavati unaishtiki, by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana-tamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Okay.
You know what's great about the Govardhana Eco Village, Kostuba?
Tell me.
It's like being in old India. You know what I mean? I just going into Bombay made me realize, man, I want to go back to the Eco Village. I want to go back to the countryside. It's like they've created India without the cacophony of India. And it's became, for everybody who's been with me, I'm looking at Lori Pag right now, it just got better and better. Now it's like really done, I feel like. And they're just polishing it, but it's like, it is a nice.
There's always more.
place.
You know, I was hearing about some of the other plans that they're doing, you know, like they're developing a lot of stuff just outside the Eco Village now, different kind of like for the local villagers, training them in all different kind of skills and, you know, careers and so on. And it's one thing after another. They keep growing. They don't stop.
Yeah. Oh, Mara's got to tell the story about the hospital yesterday, because she was
All right.
she was waiting for me. Just, I know we're gonna get to the Bhagavatam, but the
Worrying.
hospital is quite impressive. Mara.
Okay, so I was sitting in the waiting room
Okay.
waiting for Raghu. And first, you know, there was that big celebration for the 25th anniversary of Bhaktivedanta Hospital last night.
That's right. Yesterday was the 25th anniversary of the opening of the Bhaktivedanta Hospital. You were there on that day.
Yeah. So first there's like, you know, a couple pious women sitting there doing Rangoli in front of the Murti of Srila Prabhupada.
You walk
And that's
into the hospital, and there's
rice flower
Prabhupada.
designs.
Yeah, you walk into the hospital. There's Prabhupada is on the Vyasasan in the middle of the
And it's
hospital.
playing his music. It's playing his kirtan, right?
And then,
sound
you
system.
know, after a little while, 6 nurses come in to like check in for their shift, and they sing the Sri Shikshastakam prayers to Prabhupada.
Well, they
And that's
get
like
on the microphone.
This one wasn't on the microphone,
Okay.
actually.
They're so solemn.
then- Yeah.
When they stand there, they all stand there and they chant
Yeah.
with depth. They read
Very
from Bhagavatam.
And then about an hour later, you know, I'm still sitting in the waiting room, and somebody comes and like, you know, this person has a microphone, is up at sort of a podium, and they're like, hello, hello. And I'm like, I guess they're going to make some kind of announcements. Like, I don't know, maybe patients all need to put on masks or something. What kind of announcements go out at a hospital? And they start handing out papers. And I was like, okay. And they give us the Sri Shikshastakam prayers for everyone to chant. And then they went into a Bhagavatam class for about 20
Yeah,
minutes
they
in the
do it every
hotel,
day.
in the hospital waiting room. Yeah, it was so impressive.
Hospital lobby.
Yeah.
Like, makes you want to go get sick, doesn't it?
I know.
And then,
Yeah,
of
it
course,
is.
the food in the hospital. I
So
actually
good.
said, there's the Brahmacharya doctor who was taking care of me. And I said, you know, the reputation is the food in this hospital is the best food in all of Mumbai. And he goes, what are you talking about? He doesn't realize what hospital food is in America. Everything is, how do you call that type of food?
Processed.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's like frozen and reheated. It's not like anything's cooked.
Yeah, it's all like ready to eat. You know what I mean? So it's like they're
Yeah.
not actually cooking it often in the cafeterias. They just like reheat it or bring it to temperature.
Yeah, so it's sort of like they're cooking rice and what's the dosas and poha. It's like it's unbelievable. Sambar. It's
Poha.
like they're cooking stuff.
Well, I'll tell you a story, Raghunath, okay?
Sure.
One time I was at the Bhaktivedanta Hospital, and I was going in there for, it was either breakfast, I think it was lunch. It was lunch. And but they sent me over to like the little room where the doctors eat, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know any of them, and they didn't know any of me. I'm sitting at the table next to their table, and they're all sitting there. And you had a bunch of the doctors, and they're you know, some of them were a little older, some of them were a little younger, and you know, there's a whole there's a little powwow going on there, and they're eating their lunch and they're talking about Srimad Bhagavatam. Like the elder doctor is like saying, well, then Sri Prahlad spoke. And when he spoke, he began to describe, it's just, they're going
That's what
on.
the doctors are talking on their
This is
downtime.
you go to any hospital in the world and you pop in and see what the doctors are speaking about. It could be all kind of stuff, Oh,
This
man, I
is
got
what
this
these are the
ridiculous
people I want.
patient. And,
These are the
right?
people I want cutting into my body. People are talking
Exactly.
about the Bhagavatam. Matter of fact, when I was getting that heart check, they put me in the machine. There was a big picture of Nrsingadev on the wall. I was like, thank you. I want to
Thank
see
you for
Lord
that.
Nrsingadev before I, get these things
So wonderful.
shoved in my arms.
And
before I go under, whatever.
I was walking with, I got a special opportunity to spend a little time with Radha Swami yesterday. Because, he was sick.
Oh,
he got
did
COVID.
you?
Yeah, I did. He got COVID, but he's coming out of it now. He's doing fine. But, it's kind of like in that stage where it's kind of done, but you're still testing positive, So we walked together just out in the open air. And, we walked around the eco village. He was talking about what's been developed, what is still to be developed. And then we talked about the 25th anniversary of the opening of the Bhaktivedanta Hospital. And as I was walking with him, just within my mind and heart, I just felt a wave of appreciation, respect for what this little gentle man has done with his life,
I know.
He's touched so many. That
Right.
Bhaktivedanta Hospital, I tell you, the staff from top to bottom are just salt of the earth people, just people that could be getting paid more in other hospitals, but they all want to do this as devotional service. They've created a care institution there that's, in my opinion, unparalleled, with not just they provide first-class medical care, but they provide it with spiritual care. And they reach, not only do they do all the things that a good hospital is meant to do, but they actually, thousands and thousands of people have taken to bhakti just because of the care that either they or their family members have received in that hospital. And they follow up with these people, and as the years go by, they just developed a whole huge community just from more than any temple out there or anything like that. It's amazing what they do.
Seeing all these doctors with tilak on and kirtan playing in the halls, I was very, very impressed by Radha Swami. I was also impressed by Prabhupada, because we watched the Hare Krishna movie the other night.
Yeah.
By Yadubar, and that movie is so inspirational. I cried in the movie. I cry. I mean, I cry a lot, but I cried during that movie. And you know when it was? It was like when it said the Hare Krishnas, something like Storm London or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, Prabhupada must have been so happy. And you could just see one person with a sincere focus.
Yeah.
What can be done? You can move mountains.
When you
change the
have
world, you can leave a legacy.
When you have no other desire but to serve, it becomes very potent. And one little person, that's what I see from, that's what I see in Radha Swami, that like from one person's desire and determination and purity and sacrifice, a huge project like the Govardhan Eco Village rises, a huge project like the Bhaktivedanta Hospital rises. And actually there's so many of these that have grown out of the original Chowpatty Temple in Mumbai, blows me away.
I got to hand it to the Brahmacharis that worked here, because basically Radha Swami sent them into no man's land, with tough weather conditions, and said, here's the project. To an Indian, it makes no sense whatsoever. What people are going to come here? No one's going to come here. They just did it because they believe in their guru, and their guru had an idea. But they were all a little bit like, we're going to do this, but it doesn't quite make sense. And sure enough, now it's like they have they feed so many people today. They come here, and it's like a cool tourist attraction. Thousands of people come daily, and they
educational
feed them for free
institution
every day.
Yeah, there's that.
There's
busloads of kids coming in from Mumbai, from the school, learning about. This is the stuff that you're supposed to be learning in school, right? How to live in harmony with nature, how we can provide for ourselves in ways that are more harmonious with nature. It's a beautiful thing.
All right,
ready?
nature boy.
All right,
Let's dive into this. Where are we on text? Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5,
Yeah.
Chapter 1, Text 22.
Okay, so
on.
what's happened now is what's was meant to be accomplished has been accomplished. The yogi Priyavrata has been called into service back in the material world. He's been convinced. He's agreed. He's ready to dive into it.
Mm-hmm. Swayambhuva Manu, with the assistance of Lord Brahma, thus fulfilled his desires. With the permission of the great sage Narada, he delivered to his son the governmental responsibility for maintaining and protecting all the planets of the universe. He thus achieved relief from the most dangerous poison ocean of material desires. Following the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maharaj Priyavrata fully engaged in worldly affairs. Yet he always thought of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are
That's
the
the key.
cause of liberation. What's that?
That's the key right there. He was working in one way, but internally he had his mind on I'm serving, right? Serving God.
I think we have a lot of people like that in our Zoom
Circle.
audience. They're working jobs and they're thinking about Krishna.
Yep.
Following the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maharaj Priyavrata fully engaged in worldly affairs, yet he always thought of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are the cause of liberation from all material attachment. Although Priyavrata Maharaj was completely freed from all material contamination, he ruled the material world just to honor the orders of his superiors.
Okay.
It's just good to know where you're supposed to be going with all this stuff in life. What's the direction? It's meditation on the Lord. Thereafter, Maharaj Priyavrata married Barhishmati, the daughter of the Prajapati named Vishvakarma. Vishvakarma is who, Mara? Ooh!
A little quiz, a hot
Who's
seat.
Vishvakarma?
The architect of the demigods.
Yes.
Boom! You can't.
You've been
just
trained
can't
well.
stump
It says
her.
much about your superiors.
Don't take credit for it, Rugger.
The architect of the demigods. And Mara, since you're on the hot seat now, who is the architect of the demons?
Oh, Danya.
No.
There's the
Retract
D.
it. Bring it back. There's a D in there, but it doesn't start with the D.
Oh.
Maya Danava.
Maya.
Maya Danava. Ooh, got her.
Got
See
her.
if the message board went off on that one.
Apparently, her superiors have not been training her so well.
Her superiors take no responsibility for a lack of knowledge. She's not studying. I'll take the credit when she gets it right. Thereafter, Maharaj Priyavrata married Barhishmati, the daughter of Prajapati, named Vishvakarma. In her, he begot 10 sons equal to him in beauty, character, magnanimity, and other qualities. He also begot a daughter, the youngest of all, named Urjasvati. 10 sons of Maharaj Priyavrata were named, here you go, Agni Dhrira,
Agnidra.
Madjiva, Yagyabahu, Mahavir, Hiranyareta, Grita Prishta, Shavana, Medahatiti, Vitihotra, and Kavi. These are all.
Can't they all just be as easy as Covey?
Kavi, yeah. These are also the names of Agni, the fire god.
Fire god.
Interesting. He named his kids after the fire god.
Must have been some special connection.
Yeah. 3 amongst these 10, namely Kavi, Mahavir, and Shavana, lived in complete celibacy, thus trained as Brahmacharya life from the beginning of childhood. They were very conversant with the highest perfection known as the Paramahamsa ashram. You know what's interesting? If people aren't celibate or have never experienced like celibacy for a long period of time, and I'm not talking about women, I'm talking about men, they can't even believe it. They can't even believe people can be celibate. They're like, I don't believe you. People, because it's such an addictive habit, sexual indulgence for men. They can't get their head around that somebody can be celibate. What to speak of these? Huh? Kastuba?
Speak of what? What to speak of what?
What to speak of these Nice sticky brahmacharis.
Nice sticky brahmacharis. Okay.
They're brahmacharis their entire life.
Yeah, well,
Pretty
I guess
impressive.
because if you get fed all this information saying sex is the ultimate goal of life, then you're like,
Yeah.
hold it, you're throwing the whole best part of life away. Why would you do that?
Yeah. It almost seems like, oh, your religion is horrible. No. They found a better way. They found a higher taste. They don't need to go out to get high. They keep it all inside.
Okay.
In more ways than one. Okay, going on.
Please.
The 10 sons of Maharaj Priyavrata were named. Did I just do
No,
that?
you just went back 2 verses.
Yes.
Text 27.
Thus trained in brahmacharya life from the beginning of childhood, they were very conversant with the highest perfection known as the Paramahamsa ashram. Thus situated in the renounced order from the beginning of their lives, all 3 of them completely controlled the activities of their senses and thus became great saints. They concentrated their minds always upon the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the resting place of the totality of living entities, and who is therefore celebrated as Vasudeva. Lord Vasudeva is the only shelter of those who are actually afraid of material existence. By constantly thinking of his lotus feet, these 3 sons of Maharaj Priyavrata became advanced in pure devotional service. By the prowess of their devotional service, they could directly perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, and realized that there was qualitatively no difference between themselves and him.
Oh, that great stuff.
Yeah, very good stuff.
Okay, so this is just saying that amongst Priyavrata's sons, there were 3 that just he had 10 sons. He said, okay, 7 of them are going to maybe be more involved in management and taking care of the populace, like through management. And these other 3, they're going to become very deep spiritually, and so they went off and they practiced celibacy and they practiced meditation. And through their meditation, they got something that was better than sexual enjoyment, right? They realized God within their own heart, right? And they could see God situated within the heart of every living being. This is really something. In our, what I'm really enjoying also, I was telling you, like, I've had some profound feelings.
Squirrel me this.
I've had some feelings going on. That one of them was what I was.
Hey, hold the show, everybody. Because Stu's got feelings.
I do have feelings. So,
you have no feelings and you know it.
Don't you know? So anyway, I was saying one profound wave of appreciation. I had this wave of appreciation around us. So, it's a beautiful thing when you feel that too. You just feel it for another person. And so I was feeling that yesterday. But what I was feeling this morning, because we've been having regular classes with these wonderful people who come all the way out here.
Yeah.
And we just had wonderful discussions, and today we had a wonderful discussion, and I walked away from that just happy, just feeling
with
like,
who? You had a discussion with who?
With all the students here, everybody that's come.
The students, yeah.
The
special people.
Special people, and just, it's a gift, it's a gift to be around people that, let's talk about higher topics, let's get enthusiastic about it, let's ask great questions. They're asking great questions.
Yeah.
It means that they're thinking about these things, and and so we were discussing the Paramatma today. This idea of God being within the heart of every living being, and they were bringing up all kinds of interesting ideas and interesting questions that were really, really something. But it got me thinking deeper, on the subject. Because this idea, that when we talk about spiritual knowledge, what we're saying is that every living body, whether it be human, whether it be animal or plant, has a spark of spiritual energy within it.
Yeah.
And they're equal sparks. They're moving around different bodies, but the sparks are of the same quality, right? And that the spark of spiritual energy, which is us, is conscious, and it spreads its consciousness. It spreads its awareness throughout its entire body. And then these yogis are saying that, hey, if you want to understand this more deeply, think about this, that just as every living body has a spark of life in it, it needs a soul to be alive. so this universe is also alive, and it has a spark of consciousness that spreads its awareness throughout the entire universe, and that is Lord Vishnu, right?
It's that Fibonacci spiral, sir.
Excuse Fibonacci. Yes,
It's
yes.
Fibonacci spiral.
And so that there's Lord, when we say Paramatma, we're usually talking about the Lord within the heart and within the body of every living being. But Paramatma just means the superior or supreme Atma, right? That central or primary soul amongst all the souls. And Bhakti yogi philosophers have described that these three manifestations of Lord Vishnu are all called Paramatma. So it's saying that just like we are the soul within our own body that makes it comes to life. So similarly, this Lord Vishnu, he is also in the universe, and he's the soul of the universe that's giving life to the entire universe, right? But then he goes within you. He goes within me. He goes within Mara. He goes within Megan McDonald and Lori Pag and he goes into the heart of every. So it means what the yogis are saying is, if you meditate on this, you can realize that the soul of the universe is within your own body, right? And that soul has created a network that's like tying everything together, that's making everything function. In other words, another person that you had to feel a wave of appreciation for, and we've been talking about him a little bit, is Gauranga Prabhu.
Yeah, it's like, this is like next level. They talk about how much is it? How many species of humans are there? They say 400,000.
400,000. Yeah.
He's one of the higher
I
species.
think he's one of the. Okay,
I'm one of the lower
humans.
ones. I can barely have a conversation with Garanga. I'm always like, ooh. And he's speaking so beautifully.
Yeah. And he's, there's this kind of like, I don't know what you call it, a forest, but like kind of like an area with, it's a beautiful little area with trees where they set up tables for people to eat. He goes
It's
to
the most
very
charming dining area ever.
charming dining area. He goes to the very back of it, sets up a table back there, and just sits there all afternoon, and like kind of like a transcendental mafia don, just like people come up one after another, and he gives them instruction, they walk off, then the next person waiting for the honor to speak to him steps up, he tells them what to do with their life. Yeah, and but like this, he's managing so much, like this entire project, he sits in one place, but his awareness spreads throughout the entire project through all these people who come back with the information, right? And then he tells them the next thing to do, and then they go out. And so like this one person is managing a whole project. Well, similarly, he can do that. We can't do that because he's more intelligent than us, right?
Right.
But the Paramatma is infinitely intelligent, and the Paramatma can coordinate everything that's happening. That you got a shot of this stuff in your arm yesterday, right? It's just like some perfect arrangement of your karma due to your desire, due to your virtue, you suffer, you enjoy accordingly, and it's all.
I thought I was the enjoyer. Prabhu. And
but
Krishna
shortly
said,
later,
no.
But then he gave you enjoyment just a little bit later down the road.
Yeah.
Right. And so what the yogis are saying is these things aren't random, that these are being coordinated from within by this network that is all the extended consciousness of the soul of the universe, Lord Vishnu. And if that's the fact, right? If that's the fact, then what that means is that it's not that what happens to me, my karma is some kind of random thing that I could feel that I can pout over or that I can get upset about, or, they see it as that I have this divine friend within my heart, the Paramatma, who's coordinating everything, right? And so therefore, whatever comes to me, I see as a blessing prescribed specifically for me, coming from that divine friend in my heart. And I see the entire world is moving specifically for the purpose of my enlightenment, and that every event or every experience in my life isn't happening, like they say, it isn't happening to me, it's happening for me, right?
That's what they say.
That's what they say. So these yogis, these sons of Priyavrata, they got that, they were seeing that very practically, and that's kind of, yeah. Go ahead.
You hear what happened to the other kids?
I do, but I was just maybe wrap it up by saying that this, I think, is what we should all be focused on as bhakti yogis. Not let this stuff slip by us, because this is what really opens up the door for us transforming big time. Think about God within your own heart. Think about God within the heart of every living being. Think about God as the heart of as like the heart, the soul of the entire universe. Feel yourself always operating within that network and be connected to the divine energy of it at every moment. Anyway, we had a great conversation like that, and I was so happy to talk about these things with everyone.
How's your classes going? Kostuba gives class, if you don't
Well,
know,
like I'm
for
saying,
the
I'm
300
enjoying them.
hours every day. And where are you at now? What are you teaching about? Just to let everybody know.
We're going through the thing, which is, kind of like the book that I've been working on. But first we defined yoga. Then we started talking about the nature of the self. Then we started talking about the mind. Then we started talking about the universe that we're moving through and how we're entrapped within that universe. And just today we crossed over the border. Now we talk about how to break free from that entanglement or that predicament, the 4 paths of yoga. That's some Mahabharata stories today.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to scroll you out of that. I want to keep this going.
Keep it going.
All right. After Kavi, Mahavir, and Shavana were completely trained in the Paramahamsa stage of life, Maharaj Priyavrata ruled the universe for 11 Buddhas of years.
Yeah, 11 Buddhas.
11 Buddhas of years.
I don't know how long that is, but I'm pretty sure it's a very long time.
Well, the interesting thing is there's measurements in all cultures, isn't there? Like an acre is unique to America. And it's, we were talking about this one.
Is acre unique to America?
Yeah. They don't use
only in America we use acres?
They use, maybe in England, but acres, hectares, hectares, they use in other parts of the world. And then they used to use like a chain. Bob, I got the King of Hearts here. He's my roommate. Bob, what do they do? They used to measure thing in chains or something. Remember that? Yeah, old timey.
Ropes.
Acre is just Imperial British in America, in the United States.
Okay.
Hides. Yeah. Paces.
Croche.
Oh, wait a second. Here we go.
Croches.
A croche. What?
Acre, it's traditionally defined as the area of one chain by one furlong.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, see, I was right. It's traditionally defined as the area of one chain by 1 furlong, which is 66 by 660 feet, which is exactly equal to 10 square chains. Well, doesn't that depend on how big your chain
how long the chain is?
Anyway, my point is we don't have a monopoly on measuring things. Other cultures measure stuff, and even the celestial world, they measure things. Plus, we're dealing with like, how they remember the old days of floppy disks. Remember those? Which they weren't floppy; they were just like these hard disks. And then after it was like, how do they measure those? Like 2 kilobytes or I don't know computers, but
megabytes,
2 RAM. They'd have to make it, and now those things are like ridiculous. They were so big. And now we have like gigabytes and what's bigger? Come on, somebody help me.
Terabytes.
Yes, stuff like that. So it's like we're dealing in micro and macro and things the universe is like that as well. There's measurements of the universe as well. There's measurements of celestial bodies. And we're dealing here in earthly acres.
Years.
And it's
years.
And we're dealing with years, celestial years, etc.
Okay.
All right, going on. For all the people who were challenging our Buddhas of years. Whenever he was, okay, let me read that again. So Kavi, Mahavir, and Shavana were completely trained in the Paramahamsa stage of life. So Paramahamsa means he's sort of like they're walking around like sages.
That's the 4th stage of sannyas, of renunciation.
Yeah. Sannyas, that's a good trivia question. What are the 4 stages of sannyas? I'm going to put you on the hot seat, Mr. Kostuba.
You think I can't handle that one?
Mara, can you handle it? Mara says no.
I can't, but I think Kostuba can.
Okay.
I think I'm
What you got? He's Googling
right now in the
it.
purport.
Look at my eyes.
I think it's okay without looking at the purport. Bahudaka.
Yes.
Kuti Chaka, Paramahamsa, and Parivrajacharya. Thank you.
Yeah, Boomba, you got it, man. Okay, those are the 4 stages of sannyas. So they were the Paramahamsas. Priyavrata ruled over the universe for 11 arbudas of years. Whenever he was determined to fix his arrow upon his bowstring with two powerful arms, all opponents of Dharma would flee from his presence. In fear of the unparalleled prowess he displayed in ruling the universe.
You know, one thing we have to
greatly-
keep in mind at this point is like he's kind of like, let's see, you had Brahma, you had Swayambhuvamana. He's third generation universe, right? He's like, he's a very early figure in the universe, and
Yeah,
he's an
yes.
important ruler there. Okay,
Yeah.
go, please continue.
And he's like a powerful lawmaker, a just lawmaker.
Yeah,
There
he's
has
a
to be
lawman.
laws. People will be like, there should be anarchy. No, there shouldn't be. You'd be calling the cops, and there are no cops in anarchy. You need some people who have dharma, and they lay down the law. What you remember India in the 80s? It was like lawless. It was a lawless time in India. They're always, the mafia ran everything. You had to fear them. It's not like that so much anymore.
Okay.
He greatly loved his wife, Barhismati. I was about to get into Indian politics, but I pulled back.
Yeah, I thought I'd let you keep going.
Well, it's interesting
get
that
them.
there is
Oh,
a
here we go.
sannyasi. There's a Brahmacharya who's the governor of Uttar Pradesh. That's pretty amazing.
That Yogi Adityanath.
Yeah.
I like that. Huh?
Yeah. Yogi Ji, they call him Yogi Adityanath.
Yogi Ji.
He greatly loved his wife, Barishmati, and with the increase of days, their exchange of nuptial love also increased. By her feminine behavior, as she dressed herself, walked, got up, smiled, laughed, and glanced about, Queen Barishmati increased his energy. Thus, although he was a great soul, he appeared lost in the feminine conduct of his wife. He behaved with her just like an ordinary man, but actually, he was a great soul.
Okay.
While
You
so
know-
excellent,
Slow down. It's interesting, you know, like what was just said here, you can take it different ways, I think, right?
yeah. How do you take
Like,
it?
I take it that she had feminine energy and it was giving him masculine energy. You know, it was like kind of like they were complementary in that way.
Hmm.
You know, but I think when we read it, we have to be careful, you know, because I think this can be seen like, oh, well, this is what women are meant to do. They're meant to walk around and smile and be happy, and they're not meant to do anything themselves. I think one could interpret it that way as well. You know.
Okay. I didn't. Okay. People
Well,
can.
I think people would. I think in our day and age, people could read that very easily.
In this day and age,
Yeah.
people pick apart this whole book.
Well, okay, but my point being is that we can go to other parts of the Bhagavatam and find men doing, where we were exactly a year ago, Raghunath, because it came up on my Facebook thing.
Where?
Are you? I feel. Where
Thought
are
I
you
was
right
pulling
now?
a Barbarino? What? Where?
Yeah.
When?
But we were reading about sati, speaking truth to power, blowing everyone's mind. Like kind of like being strong woman. We saw here, right? Not in the background, in the foreground.
Yes.
Here we're here. The Queen Barhismati, maybe she's more in the background, but she's like still playing an important role, and her feminine energy is kind of like increasing his masculine energy. But it's saying here that for someone watching them interact, they're thinking, "Oh man, the king, he's just like he was a yogi once, not anymore." It's like, he's fallen under her feminine charms. He's kind of lost his edge, but he hasn't. He hasn't, and it's going to speak about
He's
that.
charmed and he gets back to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Text 30. While so excellently ruling the universe, what does that mean? All the planets checking in on this planet, checking in on this planet.
Yeah. Well, like we're saying, this is early universal kind of like management. He's on.
All right. These are a species of humans that we can't even perceive of.
Yeah.
Like God-like humans. While so excellently ruling the universe, King Priyavrata once became dissatisfied with the circumambulation of the most powerful sun god, encircling Sumeru Hill.
Normal people can't deal with that kind of issue. I don't like the way the sun's moving right now.
I gotta fix this.
Yeah, it's gotta be
Encircling
fixed.
Sumeru Hill on his chariot, the sun god illuminates all the surrounding planetary systems. This is interesting, huh? The sun is
Yes.
circumambulating. We say the sun is stationary.
Okay.
What do you
Well,
think
what
about
is that
that,
called?
Mr.
What's this?
Heliocentric?
No. Oh yes, heliocentric is the sun is stationary. Correct, right? Very good.
Yes.
Good one.
Thank you.
And then what do we call the model where the Earth is the center?
Earth-centric.
Geocentric.
Geocentric, yes.
Geocentric model. Now, sometimes when people hear a text like this speaking about a geocentric model, they say, "Well,
Yeah.
there you go. It's mythology, right?" Because it's
No,
obvious.
All you
that
got to do is hold one of the planets in the stationary form, and then the others will appear to be moving in another way.
That's
You know what I mean?
So, in other words, you're saying is both models are valid. It's just a question of which center you choose. Like, but
Exactly.
actually, they're all moving.
They're all
You know,
moving.
according to the Vedic cosmology, they're all moving. I believe that is also the case in the Western, modern cosmology, that they're all moving. But you can choose to say, okay, now if you choose the sun as the center,
No, the Western is the solar is the center.
that's what I'm
And
saying.
the
So
Eastern, yeah.
so if you choose to see the sun as the center, there's one really good reason why you might choose that, because you get these nice concentric circles that are going around it.
Right.
If you choose the Earth as the center, you actually what you get is far. It's like that spirograph. Remember we had that when we were kids?
Yeah, you get sacred geometry, my friend.
You get sacred geometry. You get these like flower designs. These geocentric flower designs that are really
I choose
far out,
flowers.
too.
Take that away.
Okay, I just choose flowers. Well, then you'll like the Bhagavatam because it's speaking from that perspective. Okay,
Interesting.
please continue.
All right. What do you think about the Earth being flat, Kastuba?
Well, you see, that's also kind of the fifth canto, which we're just getting into now, is going to get into cosmology. Difficult to figure out, difficult to line up with modern astrological or cosmological models, but great brains like our old friend
Sadaputa.
Sadaputa, Dr. Richard L. Thompson. Yeah, he began to break it down, study it, look at it, and see, oh, no. If you look at it from the proper perspective, you can see that there are a lot of incredible parallels here. And so when he says, when it speaks in a sense of this, as the Earth being a plane here, it's not saying that the Earth planet as we know it is flat. What it's saying is that within the universe, there are different levels of planets. And the Earth is on that level. And you could call that realm a plane, right?
Sure.
This is my very remedial understanding of it. I haven't studied it in depth.
I've heard it like this. When you're looking up at the sky, you have a certain vantage point of how the planets look.
Right.
And so there is cosmology, Vedic cosmology, which is looking up, and there's they have like these 5 giant astronomical parks built in India and Jaipur and Delhi and
the Jantar Mantar.
The Jantar Mantar, yeah, where they study the planets and the shifting. It's unbelievable. Giant model. It looks like just crazy shapes, but they're old cosmologists and astronomers. But it's completely different. These books that they wrote are completely different than the cosmology spoken about the Bhagavatam. The Surya, yeah. So you have the Surya Siddhanta, then I think the Bhagavatam. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Surya Siddhanta is different than the Bhagavatam cosmology.
I don't know if I don't know how the Surya Siddhanta engages with Bhagavatam. I'm not sure.
Well, he said, I think, it's as if the demigods are looking down. Then you have another vantage point of. Isn't that interesting? Because you're looking at a planet. Because they talk about islands. So if you look down at a plane of other planets from above, it looks like they're islands on a vast sea of space.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's like Grand Central Station. They have like the this astrological kind of
you're
design.
Looking up.
Well, they say, oh, it's all backwards. They did it backwards,
Oh, really?
And then
why?
Well, I don't know if it
Mistake.
was a mistake or not, but what they said was, oh, well, this is the vision from God's point of view because he's looking from the other
Oh,
side.
that's beautiful.
You see? Yeah. So this, but it does illustrate the point that someone, people shouldn't just, people may reject what they hear in a book like Bhagavatam or Surya Siddhanta and say, no, modern, cosmology and the telescopes that we have now, and they're showing something different. Maybe not. Maybe you have to look at it from a different angle. And then if they start to show a lot of the stuff is the same, well, then you got something to answer for, right? How did these ancient books know this? And so that's kind of where a lot of this is at right now.
I remember Sadhaput, I took a course with him, and he was like, what Bhagavatam gives for the distance between planets lines up perfectly with what modern sciences says. And he just charted the whole thing out for me for the class. He's one of those, I will say that Sadhaput is one of the guys who speaks way over. He has to shift it in like slow just to talk to people like me. Also, like another species, higher species of human.
Yeah, he was great. Passed away some years ago, but special soul. I think we're out of time, Raghunath.
Oh, Mara. Yeah, and we got Kirtan 6:15. What we got, Mara? Give me some news.
I got some good stuff.
Takeaways.
Pam.
I have the microphone.
I think we should have a T-shirt that just says "I got some good stuff" and have Mary's
Pam and
picture.
Jim. Pam and Jim.
Planning for our birthday enjoyment can bring great distress.
Oh.
One person with a sincere focus on service can change the world.
Just leave
That's
a
right.
legacy.
Work externally, but always think of Krishna internally.
Yep. Like a cow and the calf. Cow's eating grass, but thinking of the calf.
You don't need to go outside to get high.
Ooh.
Excuse me.
Get high inside.
We were talking about that. I don't remember that.
About the Brahmachari. Cultivate
I
waves of
gotcha.
appreciation.
Waves of
Okay.
appreciation.
The soul of the universe is within each of us.
Each of
That's
us.
right. I like
Let our
that.
divine friend prescribe everything for us.
Okay.
All right.
Choose flowers.
Choose them.
And
That's
Look-
become famous, hasn't it? And that's part of the show every day. And
Suck a stupid
Yeah.
nose to keep up the music. And look at the universe from a different angle.
look at it from a different angle. See about that.
yeah, what do you think about that? Earth is flat. Earth is round. It's a disc. It sits on a plane. It's an island, perhaps.
How's
Who
your arm
knows?
doing, Raghunath? How's the arm feeling now?
It hurts, man. Yesterday, I
Huh.
couldn't even touch my face. That's how much
Maybe you
it
need
was
to
sore.
elevate it.
Oh, thank you, Dr.
around with it up.
Stuba. What else should I do?